Hello, everybody. My name is Jode Roonkops, and today I will be giving a presentation about the book that I read called Big Thirst by Charles Fishman. Go. So, a quick overview of what I'm going to talk about. First off, there's just there's a lot of information in this book, and there's a lot of just really surprising facts about water that I kind of had no idea about. So I'll talk a little bit about those, and then I'll move on to Las Vegas's unique water situation and what they're doing there to basically combat a scarcity of water. Uh, then I'll go to Toowoomba, which is a city in Australia, and I'll talk about their situation, which is similar to Las Vegas's, but a little bit different. And then I'll talk about a problematic argument from the author that I personally disagree with. And after that, I'll discuss water purity issues. And then lastly, I'll discuss some business examples related to water and how some businesses were very successful while still saving water. So here's some pretty crazy facts. The electricity used at home each day requires 250 gallons of water per person, and this is actually more than the average like physical water you would actually use. So that's really interesting, and a lot of that comes from the energy sector, of course, and how much water power plants need to run. Second up, farmers today use 15% less water than 1980 and produce a 70% larger harvest. I thought that was really cool because agricultural use seems to be an area that's a little harder to reduce water use in compared to urban. But this fact is pretty startling, and I think it really shows you that when you get down to solving problems, a lot is possible. So next, most of the water on Earth may be deep underground. This was kind of interesting discussion. This is relatively unverified, but the author had an interview with someone, and that person kind of hypothesized this. Next up, U.S. water systems leak 7 billion gallons of water a day. It's pretty crazy to think about. The numbers with water are just on such a big scale, as you know. So that's pretty cool. And lastly, that tap water is much more tightly regulated than bottled water. This is kind of surprising because bottled water is always trying to sell you on its purity and its cleanliness, but in reality, it actually has the potential to be less pure than your tap water. So Las Vegas, here's what I learned. Basically, the book follows a story of kind of the water director, Patricia Mulroy, who is just very aggressive, incompetent about making sure that Las Vegas is going to have enough water as it has grown and continues to grow. And basically what I learned is, so they get their water from Lake Mead, and they have a certain allocation that they get per year, and basically that some water uses can be much better than others. So they completely recycle their residential water, basically like sewage waste. They completely recycle that back into Lake Mead. So it's kind of crazy. But things like pooping and showering and doing dishes, obviously you don't want to like be excessive with that, but they're a lot more sustainable than doing something like watering your lawn, where that water is basically going to disappear, or watering a golf course, for example, or having a fountain, things like that. Um, so yeah, basically Las Vegas shows that if you have a really competent leader and you think ahead and you're really thoughtful about it, that you can have success in a place like Las Vegas, which is just notoriously dry. But you can kind of sustain a big population and continue to have luxurious water features, but you just have to be smart about it and value water the right way. So next up is Toowoomba. Um, Toowoomba is a city in Australia. And they were in like a really bad drought where they didn't get any water for like 5 or 10 years, and all the reservoirs were really low. So the mayor suggested to the mayor suggested to basically build a new water recycling plant, and kind of didn't give the people a choice about it at first, and that created a lot of basically a lot of people were upset, and it became very political, where there was just all sorts of things like we don't want to eat, we're not going to drink shit water and things like that. um so it was kind of astonishing to see how real the yuck factor is what it's called is, um and how much that affected the situation there, and they actually ended up not building a recycling plant, but rather building a pipeline that cost way more money and was way worse off for the people of Toowoomba, just because politics got a little too much involved. So next up, what I'd like to talk about is water purity, and this actually affirmed a lot of the things that I had learned about water kind of on my own. And basically, testing has allowed us to discover all sorts of new things in our water, that kind of may or may not have been there before we had this testing. And we're not exactly sure how clean our water needs to be safe, but making water ultra clean uses a lot of energy. Um, so we can't necessarily do that. And the other concerning thing is all the new pollutants that are entering water supplies, especially endocrine disruptors that mess with your hormones. And the problem with those things especially is they're not regulated, because our last water regulation bill is actually was 35 years old when the author wrote this book like 10 years ago. So it's not accounting for those things. So my opinion on it is that I don't think our water is regulated enough, and I think we actually need to do more to make sure that it's safe for people. There's actually an independent testing organization that I've looked at that measures contaminants in the water, and they think that our water is pretty unsafe, as far as I don't know, kind of based on their parameters. Um, so I like the idea of filtering at the tap, because basically then you can showering in slightly dirty water isn't really a problem, but for the water you're drinking, you want it to be pretty pure. So I like that idea personally. Um, so a problematic argument I had was that the author said, um, subjecting such technical decisions to a referendum brings democracy into an area where it isn't at its most helpful. And basically, he's advocating for a representative democracy for water decisions, and I understand this because most citizens aren't experts on water, but at the same time, I think that representative democracy completely is a little dangerous, and I think that people should have some say. So a couple business examples were Mission Laundry Service and Mitchell Wool. And basically, these two companies figured out ways to reduce their water usage, which not only saved them money on water, but also reduced their energy usage, which saved them money that way, while still achieving the same output with their businesses. So that was kind of the main idea of those. So it's really cool just to kind of know that being creative can go a long way with businesses. So in conclusion, water is very important. He goes over it many times, and we generally undervalue it. The other thing is it's very complex, and it gets political very easily. And we're going to have more people and probably less water, more variability in the future. So we need to really focus on it as an issue. But luckily, water issues are a lot more solvable than some other issues. So I think there's reason to have a lot of hope with it, especially because we have the potential to recycle sewage, which is pretty amazing. So that is my presentation. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it.